An unlikely rivalry that has sparked major interest in the cricketing stratosphere. India and Bangladesh now lock horns for the first time in a bilateral series in India. Will it continue to be a case of so near yet so far for the Bangla Tigers? Or will Mahmudullah and company finally break their Team India jinx in T20 internationals? Join us. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live for all the fun and analysis from this historic duo.
Well, here we are again. My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live. It's a rivalry that we've built up. Blue versus green always conjures up some kind of a rivalry, though it's a different kind of green, but still, nonetheless, a neighbourly rivalry between India and Bangladesh. But the real big news is here, as far as our studio panel is concerned, that I can actually see them all very clearly because we're in our studio and not on ground in Delhi. Joy Bhattacharjya, Zaheer Khan, lovely to see you, gentlemen. Every pun intended.
Absolutely, and I think we did a major coup, all of us coming from Delhi quickly and sending Harsha back there to do the dirty work, literally the dirty work, considering what the situation of the air is out there.
But I know there'll be differing views on that, but I think the biggest question we want to put forward to you is, given the fact that there are people on the street struggling to breathe at times, and we've come from Delhi and we can vouch from that, should there really have been a match? Should that scheduling have been looked at in June when it was put together?
Well, it will have its impact for sure. I think you've seen it with high altitudes as well. Like you can actually as an athlete have to adapt to those kind of conditions. So surely here also it's a similar, different kind of a scenario, but similar kind of approach. I would say, like you have to find a way of dealing with that. And you rightly said, like if breathing is an issue, imagine for a bowler to run in and bowl hard and recover again and go again, and for a batsman to run those quick singles and doubles. So that will take its toll for sure. I have personally never had the experience of playing under extreme conditions where, well, extreme conditions in terms of humidity, heat and all those kind of things were there, or extreme cold. But weather-wise and pollution-wise, I think I've personally never had any experience of dealing with it. So I'm a little short-sighted on that front. But I can say that when you play under extreme conditions, you got to find a way. I mean, that's something which goes without saying. Extreme heat, extreme cold, or humidity. You got to prepare yourself. You've seen in extreme heat people hydrating themselves, finding a way. You've seen in some of the test matches also that there used to be a towel around the cold towel around the neck to get the body temperature down. So you've seen it in the visuals there. The mask is possibly one of those one of those methods which they're using to cope up with the weather conditions.
Not that we want it to happen too often, but is this a marketing opportunity for someone to brand those masks?
Don't tell the BCCI that. Don't tell them that there's an opportunity to put a branding this thing on mask. But let me tell you something. When's Diwali 2020? It's on November 14th. When is Diwali 2021? It's on November 4th. Because it's a lunar calendar, you can sit down there and you can calculate every year when is Diwali. Not a problem at all. You can tell it 5 years ahead, 3 years ahead. Maybe you might get it wrong. It may be 15th instead of 16th, but you know where it is. What were they thinking?
3rd June, before India played their first World Cup match.
And the Delhi Marathon has been moved. They moved an event. You've seen a situation.
By a month.
By a month. You've seen an event which has been moved. You have no shortage of grounds in this country. Give Delhi a match later. Give Delhi a match on a different cycle. Why are you giving Delhi, North India, anywhere in this part of the world other than Chandigarh because the wind comes down? There's no point giving a match in this part of the world. And I just don't seem to understand it because this is a solvable problem. There are many problems in India which are unsolvable. This is a solvable problem, and that's my only problem.
The same reason why you wouldn't maybe hold a match in Chennai during the retreating monsoons, etc., etc. There was a time Cuttack was about to hold a match. There was a cyclone a week earlier, and everyone said, listen, 3 centres put their hand up, can we change it? but the Orissa Cricket Association said, no, it's ours. We don't know when we'll get another match. We have
there is a reason for that. So all these matches go in rotations.
Yeah.
So once you miss the opportunity to host a game, you have to wait that extra long to get a next match. So I think there has to be some consensus around
you have
that,
to make a rule against
where
that,
if you attain some kind of flexibility around that, where I'm sure Saurav must be apt in kind of understanding and changing those finer things. I think the main reason has been that. The main reason has been the scheduling of all these matches. All the associations get turns, and once you miss that turn, you go at the back of the queue, and then you have to wait for those 2 years. If you see all the smaller venues, they get match every 2 years. So that's a long wait for anyone to take such a risk of missing a match.
We just saw what the new
absolutely.
BCCI president
I
said.
saw what the BCCI president said, and exactly, my point is exactly that. All now BCCI has to do is to make a rule saying, look, for any reason, if you have to postpone a match because of weather conditions and all, because we can't tell when the cycle is coming, you can do that. You will move to the next place in the queue. Make it for that, because you're right. If I'm a federation, I will just say, if I'm a state association, I'll just say, yaar, match to karwa de yaar. Because my ticketing depends on it, my everything in town depends on it. Chief Minister साहब आ रहे हैं मैच देखने के लिए, ये होने वाला है, वो होने वाला है. I understand their problem. So it's up to the BCCI and
to give them the assurance.
To give them the assurance that, take it, don't do a match now. We'll give you in the next cycle. And whoever's taking your place will be dropped out there. Look, today logistics can be done much easier. We have crews today in IPL who are moving 5-6 crews. They're doing 8 venues together here. It's not that difficult in the India of today. This is not 1996 ki bahut mushkil hota tha. You needed to get a plane from Russia to move the crews around. That's no longer the case.
Yes, well, the only coaches from Russia now for various sports, not planes needed anymore. But the one good thing in favor of the match being held was that fact that Halloween was just a couple of days ago, and masks were easily available all over Delhi to be able to protect yourself from the pollution.
That is such a terrible story. That is such a terrible.
Bad, was it?
It was so bad that it's good. It's like it's like an Ajit joke. It's so bad that it's good.
I hope you're not talking about Ajit that we used to
No,
know
not our Ajit. Not Ajit, not you.
All right, fair enough. Let's go on to the schedule. We're talking about the first game, of course, being at the Arun Jaitley Stadium in Delhi. That's November the 3rd. Then going on to the second in Rajkot, and with a few days gap, then 10th of November in Nagpur. Then the first test match in Indore and the historic second test match, which will, of course, be a pink ball affair, day-night affair in Kolkata at the Eden Gardens, but that will be a talking point for plenty more. Yeah, pink ball, pink jacket, we're going to get all into the swing of things. But let's not forget that there is a cricket match coming up. They are playing, and the toss result is that probably going to suit both sides, because even though Rohit Sharma at the toss said they would have bowled first, secretly India have been talking about wanting to defend scores. So Bangladesh have won the toss, asked India to bat, so maybe both sides are happy.
I think, India will take it. India will take it as preparation. Either they'll take it as a victory. They like chasing, but they'll take it as preparation. Okay, Virat has said this is our policy. And one good thing about India is now we are always looking to some event or the other in history to this thing. Abhi T20 World Cup aa raha hai abhi.
Yep, so we know confirmation that one of the two names that were being bandied about, Sanju Samson and Shivam Dube. Shivam Dube makes his debut. He's got his cap. 3 spinners that Rohit Sharma mentioned at the toss: Yuzvendra Chahal, Washington Sundar, and of course Krunal Pandya as the spinning all-rounder. So, Zaheer, how does that squad look to you overall?
The squad is looking nicely balanced. Enough bowling options also for Rohit Sharma to maneuver his resources. He's got enough seam options and the spin as well. And we are playing at Delhi. So Delhi is predominantly a spin-friendly track. Doesn't matter what the conditions are, even though it's just early November, and we are expecting the wicket to play better than what we've been seeing in IPL. That's towards the end of the season, so wickets are tired as well. Nonetheless, I think the basic nature of the surface has been friendly towards spin bowlers. So that's something which all the spinners will be excited with. And India batting first gives them actually that opportunity to make use of the surface, because at times we've seen in Delhi it's good to bat first because you don't know what the surface is going to offer, and the second half at times it becomes too difficult to bat. So if it's on the hindsight, it might be a good thing that India has lost the toss and batting first.
Yeah, Zaheer knows a thing or two about playing a bit of T20 cricket around Delhi. But what about this whole discussion around wanting to try and set a total because of maybe a record that you're not too proud of? And this is the reason we're talking about it. Batting second, 75% win record since Jan 2018, and that's unparalleled. But 57.89%, so it's maybe that's the figure that they're looking at and wanting to put it right.
Yeah, I think so too. They probably want to put it right. And the only other thing I'd say about the squad that we just saw is that if there's anything, I'd look at this team and say, who are going to be your death bowlers? Because it's clear that Khalil is going to be one of the death bowlers. But if you see Deepak Chahar and how Dhoni uses him, he almost never uses him towards the end. And therefore, what's going to happen is you're probably going to have, if Shivam Dube has to come back and bowl a couple in the death, that will be interesting. Or they've used Chahal once or twice in the death as well. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to see who bowls the death overs with Khalil. Khalil is definitely going to be one of the two. But I'm not sure Deepak Chahar is going to be the other one, even though he is the second established seamer.
You reckon some of our spinners are experienced enough to be stepping up as death bowlers?
I think they will stretch it to the death overs. So the last 3 overs, you'll possibly see Khalil bowling those 2 overs. 1 over will be bowled by Deepak Chahar, and that 17th over possibly will be a leg spinner, depending on who is batting at that stage. So you've seen Kunal also bowl in those 16, 17 number over. So that's something which I'm sure the management must have thought about. But I think India batting first is exciting times. You've seen that batting lineup, KL Rahul getting opportunities since Virat is not there. So I think he will be really keen on using this opportunity and making those runs. Shikhar and Rohit has been very formidable at the top. So they will continue to do so. And Rishabh Pant and Shreyas Iyer, another opportunity for them to showcase their talent.
I think that's the word that I'm going to pick on from what Zaheer just said, the opportunities. I mean, each individual, you look at a different kind of opportunity. Shikhar Dhawan missing out on the test squad now says that, okay, this format, I just need to hang on to it and prove that I still very much belong. Not that he has anything to prove, but it's home ground and all that put together. As long as they don't have a one tip, one hand rule, he'll be fine. Because if you saw his recent post, he was horrendous on his terrace. One tip, one hand, he was gone, second ball.
No, absolutely. The other interesting thing is that, watching Shivam Dube, because India really, and we've been looking at it, other than Hardik Pandya, we haven't had a finisher at 6. After Dhoni has sort of relinquished that role, and Dhoni wants to bat further up the order at 4 and 5 instead of using him at 6, where he doesn't have that power anymore. So is Shivam Dube the guy who's going to be with that Hardik Pandya in that 6-7 spot to say that, okay, can he do a quick 40 of 20 balls? Is he the kind of bowler? Somebody needs to deliver that for us. And really, after Dhoni, only Hardik has managed to do it with any consistency. So look, what would India do? At every position, they'll be saying exactly that, looking for saying, okay, if these are my 2 top options, who's my second option? So, Rahul slots in there, Rishabh slots in there. They're all your second options and they're all getting their opportunities.
Yes, but of course it remembers that Rohit Sharma and Mahmudullah Riyad weren't the only two who were sitting, scratching their heads and trying to pick squads today, because we all, remember, have our My 11 Circle teams to pick. And this is how you go about it. Just to remind all of you, get onto the website my11circle.com. If you haven't done it before, new season started. Download the app and look for that familiar figure of course, brand ambassador cum BCCI president, who will give you 3 times the amount of cash. And when the BCCI president promises you that, he sticks to his advice. So remember to pick your teams judiciously. But we ourselves have a lot of discussion. So rather than get into a whole discussion about picking the 11s, which you need to keep secret, let's at least try and let a little cat out of the bag. Who would you have or advise people to have as captain of the team? Remember that captain doubles your points.
I still, under these circumstances, I'd say, for me, I'm not so sure about who'd bat and bowl, but I'd say I'd choose between Rohit and Rishabh. Rohit, because obviously anyone opening has an advantage because he's going to get a lot more, and exactly as he said, probably batting first on a Delhi track may not be Zach knows this Delhi track better than anyone else. Rishabh, because he also has a chance to get a couple with wickets, maybe a stumping wicket, extra points out there, so he's giving you a little bit more, because even though Shivam Dube is your slated all-rounder and all-rounders definitely do well, he may be batting a bit too low, may not get that much opportunity unless India really collapse up front.
Probably right. Would you lean towards a bowler ever? Because remember, wickets are valuable. I mean, a batsman gets out, that's it, he's gone. He has no more role to play as far as scoring points. But a bowler can come back after getting...
You'll have to come up with a really good spell, like having 3 wickets or 4 wickets in a match, and then that can really change those dynamics. But if you want to play safe, if you have a really strong instinct, then like Malinga picking up 5 wickets the other day in that match, then if he's your captain, then you are really talking about going through the roof with your points and getting that clear lead. Because not many players like to have bowlers in their dream 11, so
I think you're being harsh on yourself.
No, not really, not really. I think in the shorter format, you got to see what positions you're bowling as well. So if you want to go safe, I think in this My 11, when you're picking those My 11, has to be the top 3 batsmen. I think that has been safe, and when Rohit Sharma plays 30-35 deliveries, what's going to happen? So, and he's got every opportunity of achieving that. So I think for today, I'll say Rohit Sharma.
So you've heard it here. Both of them agree with that. Even Zaheer Khan agrees that in his My 11 circle, he may not necessarily go for a bowler, but it's tempting. With India batting first, Rohit Sharma is always a good option. But the problem is, if he has one of his off days, that's it. He's not going to be bowling. He might take 1 catch or 2 catches, but then you don't have anyone to fall back on, so you're kind of out of the game then. So that's the beauty of My 11 circle. That's the beauty of this game. But what about the opposition? What about Bangladesh? Yes, we saw some of them, including Daniel Vettori, sporting those masks, looking very dramatic. But now it's time to get down to business. What is their final 11? And this is also probably along expected lines there. We've seen with no Shakib Al Hasan. One new name in there, Mohammad Naeem, up in the top of the order. Shomo Sharka Littendas expected to open. And then you've got Mushfiqur Rahim, Mahmudullah, Mossadegh, Afif Hussain, exciting young former under-19 captain.
You've seen a lot of him, haven't you?
And he recently against Zimbabwe, they were 60 for 6 against Zimbabwe in a tri-series and picked up 52 of 26 balls to take them to victory. Alameen also somebody to look out for.
But would Afif bat that low? Do you see him batting at 7, or would you see him batting?
I think it just depends on trying to fit into the situation. Because if he's going to be chasing, you wouldn't mind somebody like him. They've always had Bangladesh have had players at 6, 7, 8, 9. There are times when even Mahmudullah Riyad was batting lower down the order. So
just one more question I want to ask him. Who is that explosive? Again, we are talking about finishers, the Shivam Dube that we are trying today in place of Hardik. Who is that guy? Other than Mahmudullah, who can really motor at 6 or 7? Do they have that player right now?
I briefly touched upon a couple of players missing. One, of course, is Tamim Iqbal. The other big name missing is Shakib Al Hasan. Mahmudullah Riyad, the captain, obviously had to admit that he was missing Shakib Al Hasan. This is what he had to say.
Shakib has been a great performer for Bangladesh cricket team over the years. I think he is one of the main key players in our team. But having said that, I think because the issue that happened with Shakib, I think we still have that support for him, because he did a mistake, but he didn't committed a crime, I think. But having said that, I think we still have that support for him. We still have the same love that we had used to be. But that's an issue that have gone by. I think we're now much more, as I mentioned, that we're much more focusing on playing tomorrow and try to win the game. And having said that, I think probably it will be a proper opportunity for the younger guys to show up and stood up for the Bangladesh team.
Well, Mahmudullah Riyad obviously playing the issue down. One side, of course, as a player, they're going to miss him. But he was playing down the fact and just passed it off as a mistake. It's a lot more than that. He should have known what he was doing. A lot has been said about it, but I think time for us to put our little 2 bits in.
No, I know. I'm very clear on this. What he did was wrong. What he did was wrong, and he's 32, 33. He's been around this circuit for the longest. He's been playing since he was a teenager. The only thing I find, and I'm take my mind to be suspicious, is the timing of everything that's happening around Bangladesh cricket and this coming around at the same time. And I'm not saying that doesn't mean he didn't do it, but somewhere there are things happening there which I'm not quite clear about. The kind of things that happen is, and I've seen it happen or heard about it happening in smaller leagues in the world, where, the owner gets a call and says that, speak to this guy, he's going to call you up, speak to this guy. And you're wondering, I play this league for this team. If the owner says to speak to the guy, I may not do anything, but I'll hear him out. So, look, I'm not trying to defend anything, because there is nothing to defend. You cannot, as a senior international cricketer, do that. But I can only tell you that I believe that the kind of circumstances that these players are under, sitting out here, it's very difficult for us to tell.
Well, let's just remind you exactly what the official charge against Shakib Al Hasan was. The official release that he failed to disclose to the ACU, the Anti-Corruption Unit, full details of any approach to engage in corrupt conduct on 3 occasions, including one in relation to an IPL game where he played for the Sunrisers. So, Zaheer, again, Joy obviously has seen him in the dressing room as well. We know Shakib as a person. And of course, being an experienced player, you have to ask yourself, I mean, just one question, what was he thinking?
And the one thing which comes to my mind is, lack of faith. You got to have faith in all the authorities to have that trust and just go out and they are there to help you. I think, that's the main lesson out of this for all the cricketers who are currently playing and have been part of it in whatever capacity associated with the game. That end of the day, you don't, as a player, you always end up on the losing side. And imagine the kind of form which he is in and the kind of asset he is to the team. So I think he must be really feeling that he's missing out on a vital year of his career. So from that point of view, I think it's huge. But for others, I think it's a lesson to learn from, and I'm sure that's what Shakib will be feeling right now. That maybe he's not showed enough trust in the authorities and be open about it. And having played for so long, you expected him to do that. So that's something which was a little bizarre in the whole episode. But nonetheless, I think he should take things in his strides and come back stronger.
I think he's done that. And see, the other thing is that if you don't report that day, every day that you don't report, it gets tougher and tougher and tougher. And then you haven't reported him once. If you report him the second time, you're saying, "Main pehli baar nahi kiya tha." Now I'm stuck. Because they'll say that this is not the first time you spoke to him, he spoke to you before. So it's one of those things. And once it gets into that, you're like wondering, when do I actually call it? Do you know what I mean? And it's a vicious circle. It still doesn't, I mean, he's an international cricketer. You're adulated by the world because you're expected to handle these pressures. So there's no defense of that. But those are the kind of things that happen. Because once you don't report it, then every day that you don't report it, you feel more and more guilty about not reporting. And you're in more and more trouble as it goes on.
Yes, and of course, I mean, as we said, on the cricketing front, he will be missed. He's an impact player wherever he goes around the world, whether it's for Bangladesh, recently went to the Caribbean, walked into the franchise winning team in Barbados and played a role there till the very end. But as far as these two teams are concerned, while there might be occasions in ODI cricket and Test match cricket where we've seen a bit of fight, the record in T20 international cricket, have a look at this. 8-0 to India. 8 matches, and we're showing you one after the other. Dhaka in 2014, India winning 45 runs. We can see different kinds of victories. Again, Dhaka in February 2016, then the final winning game there. You can see the President Nazmul Hasan handing over the trophy. This was a classic, India winning by 1 run. But what we are seeing at the end of the day, whether it's 1 run or bigger victories, is that it's 8-0 to India. Is that something for Bangladesh to say that a few of them could have gone our way, or just to say that, listen, it's a record we need to set straight quickly?
Yeah, it is. It'll play. See, if somebody has told them about it, if I was a Bangladesh coach, I wouldn't talk about this at all. But if somebody has told them about it, it is actually a psychological thing that will sit in their head. And if it's a close situation, I think you put more pressure on yourself if you're trying to tell yourself that, I have to break this streak, because it makes it tougher.
I love the last image of the 8th game that we just showed you. I mean, forget everything else we said about Shakib. Just him sitting there with that towel wondering, 8-0? Really? It can't be.
And in this format, because in this format, we all feel that Bangladesh has got a better chance, because short of the game, they have more chances of winning it. As we've seen in the World Cup as well, all their plans and the strategies were around backing their batting. And bowling is something which they somehow find a way of managing and containing the teams. So this format allows them to be more fearless with batting approach and that many less number of overs to contain a team. So I think with their plans, you've seen that they focus on not really giving too many wides and no balls. Controlling the controllables to the best of their ability. So that's something which shows that they do have a better chance of making an impact in a shorter format, but the numbers are not suggesting that. So we'll have to see that whether they are able to turn things around, because World Cup was certainly a tournament for them as a group, as a team,
they emerged.
to take a lot of confidence from, and say that, okay, at this world cricket level, we have made that impact, and things are shaping up. It's unfortunate that they are missing their key players in this tournament, but nonetheless, when you see those playing 11, you know that they have enough resources to make an impact. So we'll have to wait and see how they go on about their strategies. There are some new faces as well, and some new all-rounders as well, which we'll see once the game starts.
Certainly will. Yes, of course, Shakib Al Hasan, Tamim Iqbal missing the first bilateral series between these two sides, and that's something to be talked about in India. Of course, we've had a lot of tri-series, we've had a lot of the World T20 type scenarios where the two teams have met, but in a bilateral series, well, that in India is a first. But this is a time where I need to do something a little devious, because I need to make one final change to my 11 Circle team. So what I'll do is I'll ask Joy to ask his Joy Factor question, and I'll take a backward step and quickly change my team. Joy, quickly take it away.
Okay, seems to be not an easy one, but it's an interesting one. On which Indian wicketkeeper's debut one-day international were Pakistan declared winners of a match where India had just 22 runs to score with 8 wickets in hand? So an Indian wicketkeeper made his debut on that match, but can you imagine, you have just 22, there was enough overs left, 22 runs to score, 8 wickets in hand, and Pakistan were declared the winners. So think of the word declared winners, and maybe there's
that itself is getting me all. I mean, if they've got 22 runs to win, I mean, surely they won the match. What happened? So that's something to start thinking about. I'm guessing the only thing we can tell you is they probably didn't have a profusion of wicket keepers in this side like you have in the not a Sanju Samson and a Rishabh Pant and various others knocking at the door coming in there. So something to think about. Get in your answers with hashtag Cricbuzz Live, the Joy Factor question for the day. Just one more thing to do, because the match is about to start. The My 11 Circle expert couch prediction, gentlemen. India's score at the end of 20 overs, plus minus 10.
Zaheer knows this pitch more than, I mean, he would know it upside down. So, okay, I'll go first, because
okay, I can go first.
He's offering
to go first.
175.
He's saying 175. Okay. I'll go lower. I'm going to go lower. I'm going to go 160.
160. No, I was going to go higher, and I'll go to 181.
Very good.
Right, 181. Just a little bit higher, but what it means is that we are expecting the Indians to put on some runs.
You're basically, what you're doing is you're driving like Zaheer, right next to Zaheer's car. You're pushing him into a corner.
He's trying to say that he knows his team best. And mind you, his team is Bangladesh.
There we go. Which team do we know well? Well, I've taken some flack about that as well, making a prediction. So thank God it's India I'm making a prediction about, because the last time I said in the World Cup that Bangladesh would make about 150 and they made 300 plus, I was trolled till the cows come home. So I will not do that again when Bangladesh are batting first. For now, we'll just stick to India's prediction. We've made ours. We'll be back in the 10th over with Cricbuzz Combox. This has been our first in this series for My 11 Circle presents Cricbuzz Live.